As arguably the better of one of the best running back duos in college football history, Javonte has shown that he can run all over defenses. And now it's time to see whether or not he can do it in the NFL.
But he can't find anything downfield. And then in stride he does, and it's Williams. What a play!
From a small town in Wallace, North Carolina, Javonte was a hardworking beast on the football field from the get-go at Wallace Rose Hill High School, and as a senior was on his A game with over 2,200 rushing yards and 27 touchdowns. Although an extremely solid season to end his high school career on, the fact that Javonte played in a small town hindered his ability to get FBS offers, and in fact he only got one. North Carolina was the only school that believed in Javonte, and it paid off. As a true freshman, Javonte was given the chance to run the ball quite a bit, with 2 games over 15 carries, and in those games he had over 170 yards and 4 rushing touchdowns to cap off a very underwhelming freshman year. Outside of his solid end of the season, Javonte wasn't able to do much and had just over 220 yards and 5 touchdowns on the ground. Although the year was practically a wash, Javonte established himself in only a handful of games as someone who can deal with a large workload and then produce. Coming off of a strong finish to his freshman season, Javonte was looking to do his thing with a fellow stud running back in Michael Carter. Part of the reason as to why Javonte didn't do much as a freshman was Michael. Most of the carries went to Michael that year, as he had nearly 600 yards and 2 touchdowns rushing in what was his sophomore season. But now that Javonte had established himself as a great runner, it seemed like the two were bound to put up a ton of yards together. Well, the hopes came to be as the two were able to both rush for over 900 yards, and Javonte got much more attention than he did as a freshman. After quadrupling his production as a sophomore, Javonte was looking to dominate the following year as a junior. Even though they were already coming off of a great performance the previous year, Michael and Javonte upped their production with an over 2,300 combined rushing yards. Not only just a great season, but historic when the two rushed for a combined over 500 yards and 5 touchdowns against Miami, which was in fact the most by a duo in college football history. Not only just a great game, but an awesome way to finish their time at North Carolina. Out of Chapel Hill, Javonte was one of the top running back prospects in the draft, and in fact was just ahead of his bud and Michael Carter. The only backs ahead of the two were Travis Etienne and Najee Harris, so he was definitely in good company, and because of it was seen as a borderline second round pick going into the draft.
The Denver Broncos select Javonte Williams.
Javonte ended up going 35th overall to Denver, and is now becoming a part of a new running back duo with Melvin Gordon. Once again, Javonte is coming into a situation where he's going to be second on the roster, and it will be up to him as to what he can do in the near future. For many, it would be nearly impossible, but Javonte has that kind of ridiculous talent that translates to the next level. Although he was the 3rd highest running back in the draft, Javonte didn't get nearly the amount of attention as fellow studs in Najee Harris and even Travis Etienne. It may be because he didn't go to a powerhouse like Alabama or Clemson. Actually, yeah, that's probably why. But anyways, even though North Carolina is by no means a small school, they're not on the same level as the best of the best. Nonetheless, Javonte showed out at North Carolina, and although he didn't go in the first round, he was still able to go top 40, and is now in a very interesting situation with the Broncos. The fact that he's behind a former superstar in Melvin Gordon seems like much more of a challenge than it really is for Javonte to be back in star form. Recently, Melvin has struggled to produce nearly as well as he did in San Diego, and so Javonte will likely have much more opportunities than you would think. In fact, there's even talk about him potentially taking the starting spot going into the season, and even though I think that's baloney, it shows just how good Javonte is. Anyways, the Broncos running game is going to be fun to watch in 2021, and it will be exciting to see how much of Javonte's production at Chapel Hill translates to the league. I have a feeling that Javonte may surprise a lot of people this season, and he could get his name out there early on. Is it a guarantee that Javonte does well? No chance. But his work ethic and humble playing style are what make him such a great player, and those attributes will push him to always be better. It's just what happens when you are born in a super small town, go to a small high school, barely get on an FBS team, and go under the radar the entire time. But Javonte doesn't need to be popular or known all over the football world. His game speaks for itself, and people will eventually catch on. Now that we know that Javonte is a stud and he is ready to dominate, the question now becomes how long until Javonte does his thing? Whether it may be a few games or a few years, Javonte has a talent to dominate the running game no matter the situation. Even if Melvin starts the entire season, Javonte will still have the chance to show what got him here. In terms of production, I don't think that Javonte will put up some crazy stats like 1,500 yards or 10 touchdowns. Instead, I'm feeling around like 400 or 500 yards and a few touchdowns, which is the type of production I expect out of someone brand new to the NFL with this superstar on the same team. It may seem like a far cry from his over 1,100 yards at North Carolina, but you have to keep in mind that Melvin Gordon is in the same offense, and so no matter what, he will split carries. Although the numbers may not be anywhere near Rookie of the Year contention, I doubt Javonte cares, and I think the experience alone will be super important for someone at his level of talent and potential. Javonte Williams came from humble beginnings to dominate at North Carolina, and now he has a shot to do it once again in Denver. So I think it's time to sit back and watch the show.
And they have some injuries, but just expected more. Again, huge running room for Javonte Williams. He'll basically walk in.
Thanks for watching the video. If you enjoyed, it would be amazing if you could subscribe, like, and comment down below what videos you guys want next. But anyways, see you all soon and peace out.